All right, we're back again. I want to welcome everybody, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Today we have another episode of Hebrews in the Hood, hosted by your good brother Mikael Ben Israel, representative of the walls of Jericho. This your good brother BYK 1011, getting ready to come together with my fellow brethren here, have a good group discussion, group lesson. We have the good brother. I call him the young king, Jersey's finest, King Yeshaya, also known as Wayne B. We also have Yahawada, also known as Kevin G, joining us as a well-respected panelist today. And last but certainly not least, we have LaRon Campbell, aka G Consciousness, and that G stands for God. So I want to welcome everybody here, all the panelists, everybody watching us live on YouTube. And if you would, Mikael, please take over. Shalom, shalom, everybody.
Shalom, 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 brothers on the panel. Shalom, brother Mikael. Thank you for having us up here once again. And we're definitely in support of Hebrews in the Hood, man. Lovely show. And may y'all keep continuing to bless it.
Yeah, shalom out to all my brothers. I appreciate y'all. I hope to have a good discussion with you guys. And all praises to the Most High.
Likewise, I just want to say peace to everybody out there, peace to the brothers on the panel. And like I said, enjoy the show, man. Always enjoy it, and I'm ready to support, brother.
All right, appreciate those words from everybody. Mikael, did you want to start the show, please?
All right, thanks for that humble introduction, everybody. I'd like to greet everybody. First of all, I give all praise to the Most High, the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and his son Jesus Christ, the Mashiach. I'd like to greet everybody in the greeting of Jude, Jesus' brother. I'd like to greet y'all in his words. I give all diligence to this, all diligence, mercy unto you, peace and love be multiplied. And you can find that in the book of Jude, Jesus' brother, that's what most people believe. And with that being said, I'm bringing this show today. Hebrews in the Hood is a little bit different. I know the time's kind of awkward when it started. I'm supposed to be scheduled for every Sunday around 3:30 Eastern and every Thursday 3:30 Eastern. But it just didn't turn out like that. But I had to get something in. The reason I'm doing this one, family, is because I get a lot of inboxes. I get a lot of phone calls. And even on a personal level, people know about Hebrew Israelites. It's the fastest growing, quote unquote, belief, as they call it. Last time I looked it up, the information on it, in North America and in the Caribbean, amongst black people. Of course, to us, it's not a belief. It's based on faith, yes, but it's also based on fact that we believe we are the lost tribes of Israel, coming to waken our people up and shed the light of Christ back on our people. But see, the thing is, I have a lot of Christians, and I don't have a problem with that word. Some Israelites don't like that term because they would rather take a Hebraic stance on it and call themselves Messianics, which mean they believe in the Messiah. It's basically the same thing. But a lot of people don't like that because Christians seems to be associated with Roman Christians or Roman, Roman Christians, Roman Catholicism. And that being so engulfed in paganism as we know it, a lot of people steer away from that word, but it doesn't bother me. I'm a Messianic Hebrew Israelite by faith. I could be called, you call me a biblical Christian, whatever, because I do believe in Christ, and the meaning of Christian is Christ-like, and that's what I strive to be, and I believe that's what we all strive to be, because he brings us closer to the Father. So my whole point is I have people that they're kind of nervous. I'll say that at the best. I mean, I have pastors, because I have a lot of them in my family, especially on my mother's side. And they're my Facebook friend. They don't say much. All of my uncles on my mother's side are pastors, literally. And my mother's funny. My mother is a pastor. Yeah, I know that's another story. She, bless her heart, And you know, me and my mother rap, and she pretty much knows what's up. She done got threw out a couple of churches because she started preaching Jesus a little bit different, you know, according to the Bible. And the thing is, I think Israelites are so used to debunking false doctrine that they never take the time to introduce our people who already have a step up because they believe in Christ. Yes, it is another Christ, because he doesn't fit the Christ of the Bible. It's the Christ of their preacher, and it's also the Christ of the slave masters who who reintroduced them to them during slavery times. The Christ of the Bible did not deal with paganism. He did not deal with Easter egg hunting. He didn't deal with, he kept the Sabbath on the Sabbath, not on the first day of the week, which is Sunday. He kept the dietary law. He kept all the laws that the other Hebrew Israelites kept. And if we know anything about him, it would actually make it obvious or make it real simple to understand. Peace to my brother Mikael just joined. We live. Get at you. Shalom to you. Yeah, so yeah, so you know, things like that, you know, we have to learn, I believe, to embrace our these brothers and sisters and teach them. And like I said, they already got to step up because they believe in Christ. They just don't know about going the right way of accepting the true and living Christ because he's been taught so twisted to the point where he's become a pagan idol, point blank period. And it's not his fault. It lays on the doorstep of the preachers. So with that, you know, I said, okay, I'm gonna put this one out to them, and it's a lot of things people don't understand. Even some people who know they Israelites say some real ignorant stuff about Christ. So I want to address them too. The title of this show is Jesus not a question. The title is Jesus the Master of the Law, and if you prefer to say him by Yahshua, Yahabashai, Yehoshua, whatever, the Messiah, the one who came, the Messiah in the New Testament. And I put the title as he's the master of the law. Because when you talk to some people, they try to find little stuff and say, well, why did he do this? Or why didn't he do that? Or they really like to run a Paul's writing, which is which can be confusing, especially for somebody who's not well tuned in the Bible. So before I get into this quick lesson, and then I'm gonna open up the mic because kind of short on time. I'm not gonna rush through it, but you know, I'm gonna open up the mic afterwards. But before then, I want to say one thing we need to keep in mind is that he came for a reason, and everything he did was for a reason. And had that man been doing the things that people do now that call themselves Christian, he wouldn't have made it to get to that cross to get crucified. He'd have been dead way quicker than that. So you have to put the common sense in it. I'll show you even in the book he wore fringes. Now, you know, that's up to the person. I don't believe and it's just this is my understanding from studying the scriptures, not that I'm lazy or try to get around anything. I have fringes. I have clothes with fringes. I'm going to get some more because I like them and I know it's part of our culture. In the scriptures where it say that the law was put in our hearts and in our minds, I take that as, especially during to the captivity, that it's no longer a requirement as far as, you know, you get cut off if you don't wear fringes. Of course, there's brothers that are opposed to that, but you know, I'm not here for neither there or there to try to debate that. I did that years ago. I say it's up to you. If you wear them, you wear them. You know, but I don't see nothing. I definitely don't see nothing wrong with them because I can prove that Jesus even wore fringes. As a matter of fact, when y'all get a chance, because that's too many scriptures. But if you go through, you can actually look in Matthew chapter 9, verse 20, and you can also look in Matthew 14, and you'll see that the woman grabbed the hem of his garment. And when you look the word up, it's just the same word for fringes. So he wore fringes, like everybody else. Another thing I like to just kick this straight off with is people like to go, especially in the Sunday churches, and this is not a bum on the people who go there. I love y'all, and y'all are there the same reason we here, and that's to get connected to the Lord and the truth and have eternal life. You know, I put this on the foot of the pastor, and the Most High does that too. And if you look to the scripture, he don't cut no corners with them. They have no reason to be ignorant because they standing up in a position that's holding people's lives at stake. So he don't play about shepherds who lead the sheep off the edge of a cliff. He do not play about it. He got a special place for them pastors. So that's really who I'm addressing. But I just want the people who might be in a situation that's curious to just listen to us and bear with us as we do this. All right, I want to start this off on something that they like to run to, and this Matthew chapter 22. I like to say, if any sisters are listening, please cover your heads. Any brothers that's listening, I would ask that you uncover them if you understand that from that point of view. In the New Testament, where that's broke down about the any man that pray or prophesied with his head covered is a disgrace. If you have a different belief on it, that's between you and the Lord. That's cool. I don't have no problems with you. I can't make you do that. All right, so I'm going to start in Matthew chapter 22, verse 35. I'm going to start here because this is where they like to run a lot of times. Matthew chapter 22, verse 35. And this what it reads right here. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the church are very familiar with the script that I'm about to read. But we're going to take an in-depth look at this and see why these things were said. You're going to be surprised how much Christ was the master of the law. Watch this. Matthew chapter 22, verse 35, and this is what it reads. It says, matter of fact, I'll start at 34. But when the Pharisees had heard that he had put the Sadducees to silence, they were gathered together. Then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him, saying, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? See, the Pharisees and Sadducees were masters of the law. People in the regular religious churches make it out to almost as if the Pharisees and Sadducees was dummies. That's the farthest from the truth. That's why they tell you that your righteousness should supersede the righteousness of the Pharisees. Because when you looked at them on the outside, they kept the law down to the T. But if you really look at it, they care, in a lot of instances, they care more of the oral tradition than they did the written law. They kept the written law, but a lot of them kept it out of hypocrisy. That's why the scriptures say those who hold the truth in unrighteousness. And a lot of the Pharisees did that. Not all of them, but most. That's what they was known for. And Christ peeped that out, and he wasn't digging it. So again, Matthew chapter 22, verse 35. Let me continue. It's 36. It says 37. My fault. Jesus said unto them. Let me rewind. 36. Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Jesus said unto them, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. Now I want y'all to really pay attention to that. Now y'all hear this read a lot, and that makes you think, oh, see, you just got to love God with all your heart and all your might and all of that, right? But they don't understand what love is and what the requirements is that show that you love him. See, it's not just the emotion. Emotions there's no good really in this book. Watch this. Verse 38. This is the first and great commandment. Now, this is what I want y'all to key on, listener audience. Listen to the key words. He said, this is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and prophets. Stop right there. So they like to say, see, all you got to do, because all the laws hang on them two. So if you just love God with all your heart and all your might, and you love your neighbor like you love yourself, you don't have to keep the law. That's not what this means. It's actually telling you that if you love your neighbor the way you say you do, if you love God the way you say you do, then all of the commandments are basically hanging on those two things. Because for one, if you love your neighbor, it's going to take you back to the royal law. You will not steal from your neighbor. You will not cover your neighbor. You will not covet your neighbor. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to God, you will not take the Lord's name in vain. You should not have it. Matter of fact, I'm going to go on here and read that just to show you why Jesus used to say the things he did. And that was because how much he understood the law. So he hit him on a deeper level of it. Not just how it's wrote down is that thou shalt do that, thou shalt not do that. He actually giving them the reason that you keep the law. So remember what it said. Jesus' response was, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first This is the first and great commandment. So let's see what the first commandment was and why he said, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart. Let's see what's the definition of loving the Lord with all your heart in this first commandment. That's what we're going to do. Just to show the viewer audience how much the Messiah was the master. He was the literal master of this law. He wasn't one trying to get rid of it, and he said that multiple times, but nobody seems to understand that or comprehend it. So let's see why he said the first and great law, and why so we're going to see how you love God with all your heart. Here we go. Exodus chapter 20. Let's look at the first one. Let's kick it straight off. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. It said, and God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God. Remember, Jesus said, the Lord thy God, love him, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. He's telling you how you love him with all your heart and with all your mind. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God. Now you see why he's jealous. So Jesus told you the first thing you should do is love God with all your heart, mind, and all that. Why? Because God is a jealous God. So you don't put God second fiddle, especially not to no idolatry. Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon them unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So whenever you put another being and give him the credit that you're supposed to give God, Jesus knew that is an attack on the Most High. So you are basically saying you hate him. So do you see why Jesus said love him with all your heart? Because the opposite of love is hate. So right here in Exodus, he lets you know if you do these things, or if you give your credit or reference to somebody else other than him, you don't love me with all your heart. You actually hate me. This is what the book say. I'm not making this up. Last verse. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. So how do you love him? By keeping his commandments. Okay, let's go back. So I'm gonna go back to Exodus. I'm gonna go back to Matthew, matter of fact, and look and pay attention to the last part that it said. We're gonna go back and forth. We're gonna be around Deuteronomy and Exodus, if y'all don't mind. So y'all might as well keep a mark over there. And so let me go back to Matthew, because I think this something that's really it's real misconstrued, and I know it takes time to understand these things, but when you in the book all the time, then you understand. So let's go back and reread what we read. It says, and this is the first and great commandment. We just read it, right? And it connects to the first one. Loving him is basically giving him all your honor and praise. Don't give it to nobody else because he's jealous. And he said, if you don't do that, you hate him. Verse 40. On these two commandments hang all the law and prophets. So now you got to go check out all the law and see none of these laws contradict or go against these first two, which is love God and love your neighbor. Because if you love your neighbor, you're going to do everything that's in that royal law concerning him. If you love God, you're going to follow everything in that royal law concerning him. So it's really simple if you look at it and take all the religious dogma out and don't listen to these seminary schools and theology teachers. Let the Holy Spirit guide you, ask for discernment, and if he send teachers to you, that's good also. All right. Let me see. Okay, the next place I want to go. We're going to further expound on how the Messiah was the walking law. And even the Pharisees didn't understand it sometimes. They would almost accuse the man of, basically breaking the law and saying he was a god and all type of things like that, because they didn't understand it on the level that he did. And I'm going to show you why it wasn't possible for them to understand it the way he understood it, because he was there when it was written. Okay, let's go to Matthew chapter 12. So I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 12, and I'm going to read just these short two verses right here. Matthew 12, verse 1 and 2. At that time, Jesus went on the Sabbath day. Now, this is one that a lot of Sunday Christians Modern day Christians like to point out to say that we don't have to keep the Sabbath. Oh, see, Jesus ain't keep the Sabbath. So they was calling Jesus a lawbreaker. They don't know that when they say that. Because when you ask them, are you saying he broke the law? No, he never committed a sin. Okay, so let's clear this up. At that time, Jesus went on the Sabbath day through the corn, and his disciples were 100. Was hungry, and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. Let me stop right there. Now, this is something I want to clear up too, and this is where it helps to do a little historical studies to go along with the scriptures. If you just understood anything in the Israelite society, it was certain things you just didn't do on the Sabbath day because it was our national labor, relaxed day. You know, it was a non-labor day, actually. You know what I'm saying? So it was certain things you just didn't do. But let me show you where the Pharisees had a big misconception. Matter of fact, they had got so smart that they didn't even realize the little details in their own law. So we see Jesus' disciples got hungry. So what he did was he let them pluck the ears. You know, they plucked the ears of corn for them to eat. Let me show you why Jesus knew to do that, why he did it, and where he got it from. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 23. Deuteronomy chapter 23. Because it's a lot of misconceptions about this man, and I feel really bad when I say that these people got access to the exact same book I got, but I understand everybody are not on the same level, and it takes prayer, and it takes real study and devotion. So we're going to go see why Jesus knew to pluck the ears of corn when his people was hungry during the Sabbath. He didn't labor, and I'm going to show you that too in this same law. Deuteronomy chapter 23, and I'm going to pick it up at verse 24. 23 and 24. This is the law. I want y'all to hear this. When thou comest into thy neighbor's vineyard, then thou mayest eat grapes, thy fill at thy own pleasure, but thou shalt not put any in thy vessel. When thou comest into the standing corn of thy neighbor, then thou mayest pluck the ears with thine hand. But thou shalt not move a sickle unto thy neighbor's standing corn. Stop right there. People, if it didn't just jump out to you, it will in a minute. Now, Jesus plucked the corn. The exact verse 25 in Deuteronomy chapter 23 actually tell you that's advice along with the law. That if you hungry and you come across your neighbor's stuff out of hunger, you pluck the ears of corn. But you don't overdo it and load it up on a truck. That's why I say in verse 24, if you in the vineyard and the grapes, thou fill at thy own pleasure, but thou shalt not put any in thy vessel. So that means get it at your own pleasure, meaning how much you think you need for you. But don't get outrageous and go get no car, man, or no pickup truck and load up, because now you stealing from my man. But pay attention to 25, how we know Jesus didn't break the law and he didn't labor on the Sabbath. Listen close. It said, when thou comest into the standing corn of thy neighbor, as Jesus and the disciples did, then thou mayest pluck the ears with thy hand, what Jesus and the disciples did. But thou shalt not move a sickle unto thy neighbor's standing corn. He did not use a sickle. You know why? A sickle is labor. You have to chop down. You see him out there when you see him in the cornfields. Anybody know anything about farming? You are chopping down the big ears of corn. Now you laboring. You are working. See, Jesus was advanced in the law. Not only that, that could be considered stealing. Because you didn't just take enough to fill y'all little bellies. You got a sickle, dude. You trying to open up a little, a little Mexican corn truck store or something. You know how they got the little Mexican corn in the cup? You getting outraged. Now you thinking you're going to make some money off some corn. Jesus knew this. But see, he was even ahead of the smartest, the Pharaoh. So I'm going to continue. Let me go to another spot. Let's go back to Matthew chapter 12. Because see, I really want to clear this up about the Messiah. Because if you go read Matthew, matter of fact, I get that anyway. Don't even worry about it. I'm already there. Matthew chapter 12. Matter of fact, I'll go there right now. I wasn't even intending on doing it, but I might as well since it's right there. This is why he knew what and what not to do on the Sabbath so perfect. Watch this. Matthew chapter 12, verse 8. Now, this wasn't even written in my thing, but since it's right here. For the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath day. So if he Lord of the Sabbath day, what in the world would make you think he would break the Sabbath day? He was basically trying to teach them what they could and couldn't do on the Sabbath day. That's that. And he never went against the Torah. So watch this. I'm going to skip down to verse 10. And behold, there was a man which had his hand withered. And they asked him, saying, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath days? That they might accuse him. See, the Pharisees was quick to accuse you for some things that they deemed to be against the law. See, they wasn't reading the fine print. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't put common sense along with it. They were just straight, like straight lawyers. I don't want to use that word legalist because I hate when people call me that. Because I would rather be a legalist than an illegalist when it comes to this book. But if you notice what he asked them, right? So let's see what happened. Verse 11. And he said unto them, what man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep, and if it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, will he not lay hold on it and lift it out? That's a good question. So just because it's the Sabbath, this don't mean you doing no work because you walking with your sheep. You don't have to be sheep herding. You could have been returning your sheep home. You could go out, going outside the barn to use it, and he slip into a ditch. You hear him out there, bah. You gonna leave him out there to die? Break a leg or something and die? Come on, man. Now that's retarded. That can't be going with the law. But not only is you doing good, you using common sense because them sheep back then, man, that was like Chevys. That was some loot. That's like a car lot. You know how much you could do with a sheep? Okay, let me continue. Verse 12. How much then is a man better than a sheep? Wherefore it is lawful to do well on the Sabbath day. So he had to let them know, man, look, I ain't doing no labor by me touching this man and healing him on the Sabbath day. I'm doing good. Matter of fact, this is a holy sanctified day, so why wouldn't he perform a holy act? See, we get so holy that we know earthly good. And that's the Pharisees had a problem with that. They were intelligent and they were the standard of the law. They wrote a lot of the stuff. But they got themselves caught to a point Israel had fell so far from the prophets that they was focusing on the wrong stuff and not on the stuff they should have been focusing on because they wasn't keeping the law like they say they was. Put it like that. It was just face value type stuff. Okay, so we see that Jesus had to edify my mans on that. So let's look at that too. Let's go to, let's just see, since he's doing the good on the Sabbath day, and he asked, what if your sheep fall in the ditch? Would you help it? Again, I'm going to show you why he's the master of the law. Let's go back to the Torah, Deuteronomy chapter 22. Because, see, people was lying on him, man, and I really don't dig it. And, I know some of my brothers on here, they go hard for the Messiah because it ain't that they being mean or trying to talk to you like you dumb, but it's just the fact we get frustrated when these pastors been preaching to people for all these years and y'all giving them all their money when they had the same book that we had. That's why I used to get invited to churches to come speak, and I never really wowed out. I tried to show them up. Got to the point where they started knowing I was coming. You know what I'm saying? So they'll start trying to use the Hebrew words. And all. I ain't care about none of that. Like, it's funny. But the whole thing is I will get down on the preacher. Because a lot of times when you talk to them and ask them questions, they know when the Sabbath day is. They know the dietary law is still in effect. They know that Acts chapter 10, Peter's vision. They know that don't fly at all with anybody with an iota of sense. You know what I'm saying? But they do it because, one, they don't want to lose their congregation members. Two, they need that money. And three, a lot of them they think it's too hard to change their life. And God understands their heart. Well, we going to see. But let's see why he brought up the analogy of the sheep falling in the ditch. I'm going to show you how cold he is. He's going to show you that it's actually keeping the law. Deuteronomy chapter 22, I'm going to go to verse 4. Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 4. Matter of fact, I'll start at verse 3. In like manner shalt thou do with his ass, and shalt thou do with his raiment, and with all lost things of thy brothers, which he have lost, and thou hast found, shalt thou do likewise. Thou mayest not hide thyself. So this is Moses, giving the law, he breaking down how we should treat each other. So like, if one of your brothers ass donkey got away, or we could use common sense. So we'll use modern day. Say your brother, you see your brother pit bull running out in the street somewhere, and oh man, that's Johnny Pitt, man. Well, if he's not a biter, and you know that dog, you're supposed to go get that man Pitt and return him his dog. I'm just using an analogy. Or better yet, being that oxes and asses was so important, they was equivalent to a traveling vehicle. If you seen somebody stole your man's car, your neighbor's car, your homie car, and you walking down the street and you see his car sitting on the side of the road somewhere, you know his car didn't get stolen. He been looking for his car. I wouldn't advise you to do. You better call him first to let him know that you bringing his car, so in case the police don't pull you over and beat your brains out. But you supposed to, by law, go get that man's car and take him his car. Point blank period. Even if you and him didn't get into it. But let me continue. Get to the point. Remember Jesus with the sheep falling in the ditch. Verse 4. Thou shalt not see thy brother's ass or his ox fall down by the way, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt surely help him to lift them up again. Do y'all hear that? Y'all can't tell me the Messiah didn't have this stuff and bred it in his brain. He knew the law to the T. So he made the comparison of the sheep falling in a ditch, especially like if it's your neighbor's sheep, you're going to leave it right there. So you know you ain't going to leave your own sheep there on the Sabbath day. It didn't say on the Sabbath day you got to leave them there to die. He went back to the law, Deuteronomy. Because he's the master of the law. He said he's the Lord of the Sabbath. He's the master of the law. That's what he was here for, as an example to us. So, let me continue. Like I said, I ain't going to make this too long. I'm going to let y'all open up and do y'all thing. I'm supposed to be getting up out of here in a little while. But I just have to clarify this because I don't want, your regular church going, people think, man, in Hebrew, they just so mean, man. All they do is debunk stuff. And I ain't going to lie. My elder told me when we first came into truth, he had a saying he used to say, 80% of our doctrine is disproven false doctrine. And that's true. And all us on this panel know. We do more work cleaning up lies than we do preaching the truth that we get. Because we got to clean up the lie first. So, let me get to my next little point. I got another one I want y'all to pay attention to. Because this is a shout out. I brought this up the other night on somebody's radio show. And they was kind of like, wow, didn't know that was in there. I didn't never think to look at it that way. This is another thing with the corruption in these churches, and this is why I say y'all don't know Jesus. I want to show y'all how Jesus felt about these babies, man. Now, this about to get real serious. So if y'all was laughing at first, y'all not about to be right now. If you look in your average church, not all of them, but it's disproportionately this filth is going on with people molesting these little kids, and they got it from that mother church, You go look in the Catholic Church, there's not a knock on Catholics, but the people who run the organization. Let me make that clear. If you look at how they allow these grown men, first they tell them they can't hire no woman to be holy. That's their first mistake. Because it was some super holy men in our history, and some of them had 3, 4, 5 wives. So you can't let no man be that holy and then tell him, man, he got to walk around with swole onions. It's natural, man. Get you a woman. Now, if you choose to be a eunuch, a mental eunuch, because you just want to do the Lord's work like a monk, hey, more power to you. But I'm telling you, boy, Paul said it's better to marry than to burn. That's some hard stuff to do. But let's read Numbers, man, because this is something. This is something right here. I really don't like it because it's going on too much in these communities, man. I saw a statistic, man, and it was real high on how many little Israelites have been touched. And when I say that to the newcomers, I mean Negroes, African Americans. How many of us, how many of us in these churches then been messed with these preachers? How many of us are people then been messed with by an uncle or auntie or something? So I remember somebody asked me not too long ago, I think it was me and Yahweh on the show with some atheist dudes, and they was asking questions about the Bible. And I remembered it was in there, but I couldn't remember where it was at. And they was asking, man, I don't hear nothing about pedophilia in the Bible. And they was like, they had this long thing, like, man, that surprised me, that it's not in there. And I'm like, it's in there a couple of spots, but it just, off the top of my head, I hadn't dealt with it so long that I didn't go there. But let me not lose focus. This the thing. Now you represent Jesus Christ. This all you talk about. Jesus, 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 Christ, Christ, Christ. Oh, I love the sweet Lord. I love the Savior. But you know dang on well you got some perverts in your congregation. Listen, Mr. Preacher, this is why you going to get in some trouble because y'all out here misrepresenting our Messiah, man. Watch this. Let's go to Numbers. Again, he's the walking law. So I'm going to go to the book of Numbers chapter 14. Numbers chapter 14. And we're going to pick it up at verse 26. And I want y'all to listen real close on how the Most High think about the little kids. Numbers chapter, this after we was coming up out the wilderness, but it was trying to get to the land. That was 14 and 26. Here we go. It says, and the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, how long shall I bear with this evil congregation, which murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, which they murmur against me. Say unto them, as truly as I live, saith the Lord, as ye have spoken in my ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me. So everybody that was 20 years and older, you had one of them state IDs, you was out of there, homie. You wasn't making it to the land. You was gonna die right up there where you was at. But you gotta ask yourself, why did he pick 20 and up? Because see, when you go check out the culture and the history, 20 was the normal age of accountability. Then as far as you was considered a man. Certain things at certain times it was down like 16 and stuff like that. That's where the Jewish people had try to have bar mitzvahs and all that. But according to the written law, most times you would see that number 20. So it was like the Most High look at it like after you 20 years old, you ain't got no excuse. So look at this. It said, verse 30, doubtless ye shall not come into the land concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. But your little ones, which ye said should be a prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which ye have despised. Why is it that he said, man, I got to kill all these cats 20 and up, but our future lie in the babies? That's why. They still had a chance from anything they learned at that age that they can relearn it, that they wouldn't be polluted. You know what I'm saying? You ever heard that term? Oh man, he's so old, he's stuck in his ways. A lot of times that is true. So the Most High was like, man, that's why he don't play about the babies. These babies, especially when the little ones, you know, little ones mean toddlers, infants, and all that. That's younger than teenagers. He don't play about them because they innocent. And when you do something to them, boy, you is foul. So we gonna show you how much Jesus or Yahshua, the Mashiach, Christ, the Messiah, the King of Kings, the High Priest, the whole nine. We gonna show you how he knew this and understood this on a spiritual level that most people couldn't understand. So I want to go to back to Matthew, because out of Matthew, Luke, and John, you know, they all got a lot of the same accounts, but for some reason it seemed to me that Matthew just seemed to put a little more extra details in it. Sometimes Luke do too, because they're really renditions of the same thing. But let's go to Matthew chapter 18 and see if we can see if the Most High or if Christ understood this. Excuse me, if Christ understood this, what we just read in Numbers about these kids. And remember what I talked about the child molesting in these churches. We finna show you how Jesus gonna directly put the beam on that. Matthew chapter 18, and I want to pick it up at verse 5. Here we go. It says, and whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. And listen to this real close. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Stop right there. Now we know this just touched on two things what we was talking about. One is corrupting their minds. So he talking about dealing with paganism, all that type of stuff. If you got a little bitty child, little kid, 6, 7 years old, 5 years old, that believe in Christ already that little, or believe in the Most High God, keeping the law, and you go over there trying to pollute him, you in some trouble. But let's focus really on it and use our common sense. if you offend one of these little ones. What do you think touching on these little kids is doing? If that ain't an offense, I don't know what is. The legal term is it is offense. It is an offense for you to do pedophilia to a baby. And Christ said, if you do that, any of that type of stuff to these little babies, he said it's better for him to have a millstone hanged on his neck and that he would drown in the depth of the sea. So if you play with these little kids, these little innocent babies that hold our future, like you seen back in the book of Numbers, this is why the only ones they was able to go to the land, you might as well grab a rope, grab about 2 car batteries, tie them to the end of it, put it on your neck, and just jump off in Lake Michigan. That's your best bet. That's letting you know God even understand the anger of the parents who find this type of stuff out. That might be your best bet, because I know if his daddy or her daddy get a hold of you, you might get cut up into pieces. This is just a natural reaction to things you don't do. But see, we're not taught this about Christ. We're not taught this about the real Jesus Christ. Okay. So again, I'm not gonna make it too long. I'm about almost through. So I want to go to another good little point I want to point out. Again, we're gonna go back to the law and show you why this man was such profound. I'm gonna show you something that happened to one of our greatest leaders who also was a savior in his time. Just something, it's just a little correlation, not quite the same. And then I'm gonna come look at Christ and see what's up. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 18 and check out our man Moshe. Y'all know him as Moses. Let's go to Deuteronomy, right? I want to look at Deuteronomy. Now, I got a whole nother show on this where I can do the prophet unto Moses and compare them. I got over 35 or something, or so, or 30 something comparisons where after you read it, it's just it's undeniable that it was the Messiah. Couldn't have been. I just like to say, couldn't have been Joshua, but that's easy to bust up because he said he will come, and Joshua was already right there with Moses. He was actually raised tutelage under Moses, so that's that kills that anyway because he was there chilling with him already. So he'd have just looked at him and be like, man, you the one. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 18. I'm gonna read verse 13 and I'm gonna skip. Deuteronomy 18 and verse 13. It says, "Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God." Now we're gonna see how you can be perfect with the Lord thy God. Skip down to verse 15. "The Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren like unto me. Unto him he shall hearken." Okay, so we know a prophet was going to come up out of the nation of Israel. That's similar to Moses. Them, they saying you're going to have to listen to him in the future, man. Skip down to verse 17. "And the Lord said unto me, They have well spoken that which they have spoken. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth." Pay attention to that key word. "Will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him." Now, I want y'all to really pay close attention to that. If you believe in the New Testament and the Old Testament, it will be obvious to you and you will not have a problem with this. Now, if you a Torah or Tanakh Old Testament brother only, I can prove this without even going to the New Testament. But that's not the subject right now. Let's read verse 19. "And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him." So whoever don't listen to this cat that's in the same position of authority as Moses, but his words are going to be directly from the Father. If you turn your ear away from this dude, you will see his trouble because as if you look at him, he tried everything in his power to get you to figure out what he be saying. But the reason he spoke in parables too, because it ain't for everybody to understand. As cruel as that sound, some people just, they just not gonna get it. So I want to go to John chapter 14. John chapter 14, and I'm gonna read 3 verses. John 14. I'm gonna pick it up at verse 9. "Jesus said unto him, Have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that hath seen me hath seen the Father." Now remember what we just read. Remember what we just read in Deuteronomy chapter 18. Um, how saith thou then, show us the Father? See, they asked him, man, show us the Father. Let's read verse 10. It say, believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Now we just heard him say, this prophet I'm sending you not gonna speak his own words, only but what I tell him. So you better listen to what he's saying. So let's go to verse 11. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake. Now that's sad. He had to be so blunt and straightforward with it. He's saying, look, man, believe me. The Father sent me. Everything I say, the Father told me. I'm that one that was prophesied without even saying that part. He said, but if you won't believe that, man, just believe my works. So he said, dude, you can have your own assumptions, but watch me. See what I do. And you tell me what I'm doing ain't coming from the righteousness of the Most High. Y'all see how fair this man was? How humble he was? And how on point he was? You know what I'm saying? So the one that we got out here in the world that everybody claims that they love, that's that other Christ that they warned you about. If a man comes speaking another one, he bogus. He don't do none of this stuff that this one do. First of all, I mean, I don't want to be petty, but I mean, even the description of him is bogus. That don't look nothing like that of the descriptions that's in the scriptures. If you try to say, well, that's a symbolic description, represent, and we're gonna go to that. But even if that was the case, then why that symbolic description don't look like that on that wall? You know what I'm saying? Why you got, we know Caesar Borgia's son or whatever, or, looking like Brad Pitt up there. So it's two of them, man. It's two of them running around here. Not only just to the physical level, but on a spiritual level, more importantly. Don't act like him. Don't, he's not disciplined. And that's the crazy thing. Christ was the most disciplined man that ever walked the face of this earth. Even with the power he had and the position that he had, he took up the role of a servant. So that should teach us something. Don't think you can get so puffed up that you really think you got some juice. Humility is the meal of the day, man. We need to be ordering humility around this joint. You know what I mean? Okay, y'all know I could turn into a preacher, so let me calm down. Me and the other Mikael too. Don't let him fool you. Okay, so let me go to So yeah, so that's quite clear. So let me see, where did I exactly start at? I said John chapter 14, right? Okay, and I said verse 9 through 11. All right, and I stopped and said, believe me that I'm the Father and the Father in me, or else believe me for my very work's sake. So we see another scripture that said the same thing, gonna come speaking my words and all that. He put a little twist to it and said, man, we just believe my works, man, because you got to know the Old Testament or the Tanakh to know the prophecies, to know all the things that this character was going to do when he came into existence in the flesh. So I'm going to go to these. I just got about 2 more spots, and I'm going to turn it over and let y'all get it in because, I got to get ready to do something. I'm not going to rush the word. So to stay on point, I just want to show y'all another thing, how you know that this man is real similar. Y'all might be like, oh, well, that's kind of no, just put your thinking cap on. We know that there are 2 different types of bodies. I want to say that's in Thessalonians. If not, one of y'all can correct me and type it up there. Where it talk about you have the terrestrial bodies and the celestial bodies. We are terrestrial. We're terrestrial beings. That's what we are in this flesh. That's what human beings are. Then you have terrestrial bodies, which are spiritual form beings. And although they got, they have a different glory or similitude than we have. So I want to go to Exodus chapter 34. Exodus chapter 34, man. I'm telling you, I never understood how somebody could be a New Testament Christian, meaning that's it. And then you just leave out the Old Testament. It's so much stuff in this Old Testament. I stay in the Old Testament more than, I think most people do. That's Hebrew. I'm in the Old Testament all the time. I'm in there more than I'm in the New Testament. Because when you understand the Old Testament, the New Testament is so much easier to comprehend. Because this is all the writers of the New Testament had. You can't. That's like going to the show and start watching the movie. Could you imagine going to see The Matrix and then you come in on the part where about 45 minutes to the movie over with? You gonna be lost as I don't know what. Like, what do you mean? Turn right, Neil. But let me continue. Exodus chapter 34. I'm gonna read Exodus chapter 34 for a reason, and I'm gonna pick it up at verse 29. Bear with me, y'all. I'm almost through. It says, and it came to pass when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of testimony in Moses' hand, when he came down from the mount, that Moses wist not that the skin of his face shone or shined while he talked with him. And when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come nigh to him. And Moses called unto them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation have returned unto him. And Moses talked with them. And afterwards the children of Israel came nigh, and he gave them in commandment all that the Lord had spoken with him in Mount Sinai. Until Moses had done speaking with them, he put a veil on his face. So Moses' face was shining so bright. You know, some people, I seen some stuff on ancient aliens and all that. It'd be entertaining me. And they came up with a conclusion, but that's neither here nor there. But we know it was some form of mutation. It don't mean that he was ugly, but he was transfiguring because he was in the presence of the Most High. You got to think about it. That's dangerous. He was literally close enough to be around the Most High that whatever that celestial being glory is, he started to take up the characteristics of the Elohim of Israel. So he almost started to transfigure, I guess like how the Most High changed Enoch before he took him. So he had a glow and it scared Israel. Probably it scares us too. You got a dude sitting in here and his face just blinking. You know what I'm saying? I don't like somebody that got too much Vaseline on their face because they look creepy. So imagine a glow like that could probably light up a room. So the reason I brought that up because this is real interesting. Now I'm going all for it. Revelation chapter 1 verse 13. I know somebody knew I was going to go here, but I'm all for it. But I had somebody trying to tell me, well, yeah, the scriptures do let you know that Jesus had dark skin, burned brass, that's a dark brown or black brown. I had some idiot try to tell me that well, no, when you burn brass, it turned orange. I said, boy, you so silly. If you look at the verse, it said as it was burned, past tense, in a furnace. So meaning it was already burned. What do metal turn after the orange fire cooled off? Black. Yeah, I messed his head up. I said, you didn't know I had welders in my family, did you? That's all they do is sit down there and cut up cars and weld metal together. He was like, oh, I didn't know that. I said, yeah, exactly. Well, the scriptures knew that before you even try to come up with that concoction. So let's go to Revelation chapter 1. Revelation chapter 1, and I want to read something. Because some people say, well, if you really look at it, that's kind of racist. But if you use the Septuagint or the other translations, it make his face black. Okay, but let's look at it. That's because it's a spiritual thing to it too. Revelation chapter 1, verse 13. Okay, it reads, and in the midst of the in the midst of the candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with the garment down to the foot, and the girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. Now look, it said that his head and his hairs were white like wool. Now I used to defend that and just say, well, we know that the hairs, it says his head and his hairs, which mean the hairs on his head and the other hairs, because it say hairs, would be his beard. And that might be a good argument. But the way it said, a brother came to me and said, well, no, actually, that make it right, kind of racist because it's saying his face is white. Well, hold on. Ain't nobody on earth face white like snow. Now, that's super pale. Now pay attention to the second part. His eyes was red as a flaming fire. If you put that together, that's a shiny looking face. Now watch this. Let's read the next verse to see what I mean by this. And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they were burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. Now, y'all pay attention to detail. So we see his feet is black. That means the rest of his body is black. So why was the emphasis on his face? And his face is different than his feet. Because that's the same glory that Moses' characteristics was starting to take up from hanging with the Most High. You got to think about it in this Revelations, this in the future. This ain't him in his regular body when he was walking around, you know, if he had an afro or whatever, the brother walking around. This is in the future. So he's come down from the, you know, he's then came down from heaven with the Father. So he's, you know, he's super transfigured. It's a similar type of, you know, glow. Okay, yeah, you might think I'm reaching, but if you really put it together, it makes sense. Okay, all right, I'm almost through. I got I think I'm just gonna go to, okay, I'm gonna go to this spot right here because I want the people to really hear this. All right, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go to let me see. I'm going to go to John chapter 8. I'm going to go to John chapter 8, verse 58. Just to show you why he's the Lord of the Sabbath. This is why he's the Lord of the Sabbath. John chapter 8, verse 58. And this is what it reads. It says, then I'll start at 57. Then said the Jews unto him, thou art not yet 50 years old, and hast thou seen Abraham? Because they was having a story before y'all go back and read the whole thing. We'll talk about the father Abraham rejoiced to see my day. That's what Jesus told him, which is talking about the day of the Lord. Now watch this, verse 58. They tell him, man, you ain't 50 years old. How you talking about you know Abraham like that? Because he did. Now watch this, verse 58. Jesus said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am. So this is why he's so cold with the law. This is why he's the Lord of the Sabbath, because he was there when it was written. Watch this. It said, and in case you don't believe it, but you believe in the scriptures, and don't think I'm just trying to, you know, do some script twisting. Now it says, before, verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am. Remember that. So just to prove what I'm saying, that he was there when them commandments was written, I want to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. And I'm going to pick it up at, let me see. Pick it up about verse 4. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4. Just to make this clear. Now, I could have made a long one and really got into the details of how I know who this dude is and how he was a master of the law, but I knew we was going to start kind of late and I ain't had that much time, so I just put the key points together. So y'all forgive me if y'all want a little bit more meat, and it seemed like, you know, I teased y'all a little bit. But trust me, we have some very capable brothers on this panel down here. And they heavy into this book as well. Okay, so 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4. And this is what it reads, my people. It says, matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 1. I might as well. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant. Pay attention to that, my brother. Don't be ignorant. God won't have you to be that way. How that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea. And go there's Moses again. See how they connected? Watch this. Moses. And did all eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ. So when you around here in the church, talking about you a New Testament Christian, but you love Jesus so much, you say, oh, that God of the old Bible was mean. He was killing people. You know, because in your mind, you saying the Father was mean. That was the Father, and he was killing people. So you think Jesus just wasn't nowhere around. Well, you must didn't read this part, because it's in your New Testament. And it tells you that when they was coming up out of Egypt, Christ was in the clouds. So that means him and the Father is one and the same, huh? Now this could turn into a whole nother discussion. But what I'm telling you is, he knew what he knew because he been here. That spirit connected to Elohim. Go look up the word, it's uniplural. Now watch this. This is my last point, and I'm gonna turn it over to my guest, my panel. This is my one I love to bring up all the time. And I hate to shoot my shot at y'all. I love my non-Messianic Hebrews. Y'all my guys, you know, shalom, shalom. But this can be a two-edged sword. I can kill two birds with one stone on this. For my Sunday New Testament only Christians, I want y'all to pay attention to this. And to my Tanakh only Israelites, I want y'all to pay attention to this. Because I still ain't had a brother that can come back and come with a good definition. Somebody try to tell me what try to break down the definition of disciple. That ain't what I asked you. Watch this. Y'all know what bomb I'm finna drop. I done dropped it before and got some inboxes and phone calls like, man, I didn't know that was in there. Hey, all praise to the Most High God. I didn't either at one time, so I was being nosy. Isaiah chapter 8, and I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read this one verse, and I want y'all to listen real clear. Isaiah 8:16. Bind up the testimony and seal the law among my disciples. Now I got a mission for y'all, all you listening audience out there. When y'all get a chance, I know if you New Testament only, you probably got to go dust off the Old Testament or something like that. You ain't been in there so long. I want you to read the whole Old Testament. I want you to take out this Isaiah 8:16, sit it to the side, and I want you to look through the entire Old Testament and find me somewhere where any prophet, judge, or king had disciples. Any. You're not going to find it, but I want you to try to. You're not going to find it. That's because this prophecy was about the one. Peep what it said. Bind up the testimony, seal the law amongst my disciples. If you go back and read Mark chapter 12 or Matthew chapter 12, he did exactly this. Jesus went into the temple with the Pharisees and the elders, right? And him and the disciples went in there. And when they went in there, the Pharisees was trying to get down on him. He said, man, why is it that, this dude Jesus' disciples, this Rabbi Jesus' disciples, not washing their hands? He transgressing the traditions of the elders, which would be an oral law, or just part of our culture. Hebrews are clean people. Cleanliness next to godliness. That's where the Muslims stole it from, the washing of the face and the hands. But the more important thing, what Jesus replied and said, you tripping off washing of the hands? He said, why do y'all transgress the law of God? You see what I'm saying? He talking about the law. Y'all tripping off them washing their hands before they eat some bread. Because see, the Pharisees, the Hebrews, we was real big on germs. It had nothing, if you read up earlier, it talk about it ain't what, well, after that, he say, they try to use this in the church too, where it says it's not what goes in you that defiles you, but what coming out. Well, y'all don't understand the reason he even went into all that was because Jesus knew the Pharisees and the Israelites had a big thing about germs. So they like, man, whatever go in your stomach, man, that, man, them germs, you filthy. You know what I'm saying? He like, man, it ain't what go in you, what's come out. So that means it's what you do. He wasn't talking about you can go eat no pork. Jesus couldn't have walked up in no synagogue or up in no tavern in Judea with no pork chop. It would have been all in recorded history what would have happened. Come on, man. This is common sense. So when y'all get a chance, go back, read Acts chapter 10 that y'all preacher like to run to tell you it's okay to eat pork, and read it all the way down. And when you get there, you're going to see when the Most High clarified to Peter and let him know, I'm not talking about food. When he said, I've eaten nothing common and unclean. Peter went to Cornelius, and he said, the Lord has showed me to call no man common and unclean. So those visions of those beasts, those unclean beasts you see, was not food. They were dealing with other nations. And that meant that it was time for him to go preach the gospel, not only to Israel, but to the other nations, in particular the Gentiles, because they was considered unclean to us and they was considered filthy. And with that being said, I thank everybody for y'all time. I thank y'all for listening. I hope I was able to share some light to y'all. If y'all got any questions or comments, y'all know y'all can reach me at mikeward3221 at gmail.com. You can inbox me on Facebook, Mikael Ben Yisrael. Another Hebrews in the Hood episode, Walls of Jericho, will be back up pretty soon. I love y'all. Shalom, shalom. And I'm about to turn it over to my people. Peace.
All right, Mikael, once again, we appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you dedicating some time this evening to edify the people and bringing their level of understanding and their education on this topic up to par. So we appreciate you, Mikael. But go ahead and open it up to our panelists, and let's start this group discussion, please.
Shoot, I mean, y'all know I jump out there, man, so it's no biggie. You know, Brother Mikael, you definitely did put it in the perspective that it should be in. And the reason why I say it should be in, hold on, I'm sorry. The reason why I said it should be in because too many people try to speak over our heads nowadays when the ancients had it right the whole time. You know what I mean? And people do not try to bridge the gap in between the understandings of the language that we're using today with the language that the ancestors used. He will be in a glorified state. He will be in a state of unmeasurable energy, power. You know what I'm saying? Coming down from the cosmos. Other people want to play with this, like Polite and other people, and they want to put it in the sense of it's ignorant to believe that, or can you imagine that? But we're talking about something that we cannot imagine. Same thing that the scientists deal with today. The same thing that the intellect of this earth claim that they deal with the unimaginable and trying to solve that. And once they solve that, is no more amazing to them. So when brothers mock this, talking
Right.
about the Messiah coming from the skies and things of that nature, you're actually contradicting your own thought pattern, your own intellect. You're shutting your own self down.
Right.
Sit up there and be stupid to try to make it seem like it's just some fairy tale thing because you can't imagine it the way it's supposed to happen, like the Bible said it's going to happen.
Right. Right. It's basically like you said, brother. They try to undermine us on every level. And for the critics who say, see, this is the thing. Me and my brother, we talk about this. Me and a few of the brothers. Just to let y'all know too, I am a strong advocate and opponent of the KJV is legit. It's fine. The Most High set it up. He sent it to us because he told, if you believe in the scriptures, he told us that he is the, he's the God of all tongues. And then he told us he's going to send us into captivity under these tongues. Then he told us he was going to send us the word of these captivities. So the only way he could send it to us was in the language that we understand. But for those who are listening from a skeptical level, let me also tell you, this is the beauty of Hebrew War Machine and other Hebrew communities around. We have brothers that are trained in the linguistics of the Hebrew. We got one on this panel right now. And I'm not going to put him out there, but he can speak if he wants to. But I'm going to put him out there. My brother Mikael, he's done it. It's the other Mikael, Michael Edwards. I got my brother Moriah Shai. I got a few brothers. I know a little, but this brother, so we got brothers that do this. So don't think we just dummies. So with that, y'all go ahead. I'm going to tend to my business.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that was a real good show. I mean, you guys put it beautifully. I mean, I'm glad that he put it in the right perspective and everything else. I also like to add that in agreement to what Mikael was speaking about following the commandments, you can easily read in 1 John chapter 5 verse 1 that if we love the children of God, then we will follow his commandments. Again, Isaiah 8:20, that if he follows not the commandment and the testimony, there's no light in him. And as well as Revelation 12:19, that the dragon is going to make war with those who follow the commandments of God, as well as the testimony of Yeshua. So I just like to be in agreement with the brothers. Say shalom.
Yeah, excellent. Can y'all hear me, man?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay. Peace to all the brothers on the panel. And I just wanted to say, Mikael, man, you off the chain, bro. I was in the garage listening to you. I was dying laughing, bro. But you are an entertaining brother, and you are very intellectual, man. And I'm just going to tell you, man, keep on doing your thing, man. Keep doing it, bro. Peace out.
Man, all praises to the Most High, Ak, man. I thank you so much for your encouraging words, and I like to tell you I'm a fan of your work also, man. I just waiting on your response video to that foolishness.
I, I told him, I said, I'm going to give him that one pass. But, I learned something from old crazy Marvin Muhammad, that it's not cool to mock the insane. So we give them one pass. And if they violate the one pass, drop bombs.
Yeah, Mikael, you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you. I hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just want to touch, man. It was really good lecture, man. I think the main thing that you brought out that was very important that I always felt is that Yeshua, like we have the law, but it's almost like y'all wanted us to try to figure it out on how to really do it. You know, it's almost like, here, I'm gonna let you play with it for a little while, and then I'm gonna come down and show you how to do it. So when you look at Yeshua, it's basically he's giving you the interpretation of the law, considering what you should do. Like, what does this mean? Don't work on the Sabbath. What does that mean? So when you brought up that thing about the sickle, see, that's really important, because then he's like, well, this is what he means by not working on the Sabbath. It doesn't mean you're not completely doing anything. And you'll look at the Jewish people today, they reject Yeshua. So you know what they do? They make up all these contraptions to try to not get away from working. Like, they'll have a little contraption where they'll say, hey, flipping a switch is like lighting a fire, so you can't do that. So they take the stuff to so much to an extreme that they have little contraptions that help them wiggle around, not breaking no laws. Like, they'll get a ball of yarn and put it around the whole town, so it'll be like, hey, I'm still inside the crib because I'm within this little uh uh yarn fortress they made. You know, like they get ridiculous with it. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's
Word.
like they go all over and beyond to try to figure to weasel their way out of not making up something. So it's ridiculous. So I'm glad you brought that out, man. And like I said, I think we touched on this. So I think we touched on this a little bit. They're trying to go so much out of their way to do what they want to do, and that's really what the Pharisees were. They were doing hypocrites. They were hypocrites trying to juggle around stuff to make them not break it, but they really in their heart is just hypocrites. They are now trying to make the kosher pig. They are trying to genetically make a pig that chews the cud. See, this is the type of foolishness Yeshua's like, no, 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 no. That's not the heart of the law, to try to, hey, well, I want to now eat pigs, so I'm going to make a pig to chew the cud. Like, that's insane, man. But, yeah, go ahead, Mikael, I'm done.
Yeah, if I could real quick, for everybody that wasn't introduced in the beginning when we started the discussion, the live stream, I want to welcome Alvin joining us as a panelist, but also we got the good brother Zadok Ben Israel. He is one of the original members and founders of Knesset of Jesus congregation, and he is also the host of his own show on Blog Talk Radio, and the name of his show is What Is to Be Done. So Zadok, please, if you could, shed some light.
Hey, peace, fam. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
No doubt. Y'all bless to all the brothers who might be on. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with everyone, but um, um, man, I'm just here to, to find out what's going on. Brother Basim been turning me on to this technology, and I'm just interested in connecting with the serious. God will, He will weed out the fake and keep the real on deck for His purpose. So prayerfully, sometime down the line, as I get to know you, brothers, you'll consider me, hopefully, as one of the real. So I'm just thankful to be here. I am a total believer in Yeshua, being the revealed Messiah, spoken of in the law and the prophets. I'm here to chop the head off all of so-called false non-messianics, because at the end of the day, a lot of these dudes have left Christ, and they were never a part of the fold from the beginning, and it was just shown, just like demons. And so at the end of the day, just because dudes have sat around for a long time and supposedly thought that they understood Christ, now they believe that makes them an authority on how He isn't Messiah. But when I check on a lot of these dudes, they never taught the gospel. They was just always arguing against somebody's doctrinal points. But I never heard most of these dudes ever teach what Jesus taught. And so I'm just here to build with those, man, who love our Messiah, because after sitting in captivity for almost 2 millennium, there has to be an awakening of the people. And I see it happening, so I just want to be involved in it. And God bless you.
Hey, shalom, brother Zadok, man. This should debate talk for you, debate team member Mikael Ben Israel. This my show, bro.
It's an honor. It's an honor to have you on here, man. You know.
Shalom, brothers. They lot.
Peace, brother. Peace. Shalom. Hey, brother Mikael. Y'all love when you pick up your sword. You and G-Con, man. Y'all boys swing with reckless abandon sometimes. Love it.
What's going on, brother Zadok, man?
It's
Peace to you,
sad.
brother.
Hey, you get
Oh,
a when you get a chance, because I do want you as a regular guest. We deal with all type of issues, but I really want you as a guest. But when you get a chance, I want you to check out this archive. I think you will like it. I brought
okay.
Christ. I brought Christ from a different perspective for those who don't truly understand Christ. They only know him from a controlled religious standpoint, and I show how he was the master of the law. He didn't break the law. I even showed when he was picking corn, and he was picking the corn for the disciples. People like to bring that up. I show what actually he was following the law, and I took to Deuteronomy chapter. Yeah, if you go to Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 24 to 25, it actually tell you the law of picking ears of corn for your neighbor. So yeah, I just had to show him on a different version. I know, bro. I know how sharp you is. I listen to your show, so I'm very appreciative for you to be able to share your time with us.
Oh man, no doubt, man. This is for the kingdom, man. If we ain't got time for this, then what we doing? You know. So, yeah, man. Peace to you. Peace to brother G Khan. Peace to brother Basim, and anyone else here who I may not be familiar with. Shalom to you, brothers, as well.
Like I say, yeah, peace to you too, brother Zadok. Man, I love your debates, man. You articulate pretty good, man. You got the word in you, man. And like I say, it's always good to have a brother, man, that's up there, man, that's bringing that word, man, and chopping them heads off with that sword.
Oh,
Yeah, and like I say, good debate, man. I love the debate. I love the discussion that was out there, man, and it was just great all around, man.
and you know what was crazy, LeRon? I ain't even share half of my information because I understood that the debate platform. See, some dudes come into the debate to make you believe them. We can't make nobody believe us. It's Yah who provide the increase. All we can do is witness to information. And I knew that they was tap dancing as soon as I smashed them with their own rabbis. And I'm gonna tell y'all this: they don't even bring up the fact that half of the known so-called Jewish population who were Torah observant during the time of the Mishnah and of putting together the Talmud, they didn't all accept it. And I can prove it, but see, that wasn't the area to prove it. You debate with someone to show them you're going to represent your God, but we got to do it more in teaching form. That's why I just want to find out who I can connect with, because we need to present teachings together and put them out there so the people can learn. We ain't got to be giving these dudes the time of day all the time. As our Lord said, look, after the first and second admonition, you already know how to deal with them.
Hey, and Zadok, you already know, bro. We on call, man. We got a hit squad because I've been poking at them Jewish cats for a minute. I've been calling out rabbis, Asher, all them. I think you already crushed them before, but I've been calling them out, and they I mess around and leave too much of my information out there, and they go and peek at it. And they like, nah, we ain't gonna do that one. So I got to learn how to sneak up on them.
Yeah, you're a little too. Yeah, you come through the front door, and that's okay. But sometimes cats gonna see you coming, and they gonna run. I mean, dude, real talk, and no disrespect. If it's any Hebrew War Machine dudes in here, it's all good. But the Nazis, the Lion Lex, as G-Con call them, all of these dudes need to get touched, man.
I'm feeling that, man. Like I've been putting that out there, letting people know, like they on the front, they on the fore. Everybody looking up to these dudes, man. No disrespect to them, but at the same time, their information need to get dealt with, man. Because if
Look at
not, they're gonna raise up a generation of non-Messianics, and we're gonna have to give account for that if we ain't putting that stopping that.
Well,
look,
y'all know I can't
oh, brother.
let it slide. I gotta say something. You know, I'm part of the Hebrew War Machine. So is Michael Evans, the brother down in the middle. So is the brother next to him, Yahweh. And you know, so we part of the Hebrew War Machine. But hey, I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, we got to clean house. We got to straighten stuff out. I mean, it's all out of love anyway.
Hey, look, brother Mike Mikael. All I can tell you is this: me and Zion Lex have talked personally on the phone, so it ain't got nothing to do with no hate or the slander of no one's character. I can't slander a man who I ain't see do no sin. I'll never attack a man on his personal issue. But my brother Sound Mind came up here and visited us. He only 3 hours away from me in Syracuse. He like, you know, man, like, yo, at the end of the day, Our Messiah is trying to be put to the back burner by those who believe they have an answer for our people outside of Yeshua. And that right there ain't gonna work. We will never be able to get what we need if we're going to do it supposedly without Yeshua. It's impossible. It's impossible. So for the sake of building on things that don't have nothing to do with Yeshua possibly, that we can stand together on, that's all good. We can stand together, but sometimes we're gonna have to be separate as fingers, man, because at the end of the day, these cats, man, can be dangerous, man, to those who might be on the fence. And so I'm talking about, when I say get at cats, I'm talking about sitting down. We ain't got to get on the debate platform. We could do this right here. Let's hang out and let's talk, because cats got supposed metaphysical understanding. They supposedly understand the symbolism of Torah. These dudes gonna get on a debate with me and gonna tell me that basically all they rabbis for centuries argued about the Messiah, but they were only arguing about an allegory. Well, if that's the case, then you're not listening to brothers like LeBron who telling you that all of these things are similar to the shadow types. And I don't even know if they understand what the priesthood represent, the sacrifice represent, what the tabernacle itself represent, and the feast days. That's like saying, well, the feast days were only feasts. No, they told the plan of Yahweh. And if you can understand that, how you don't see everything else that he been showing us in the pattern of the tabernacle in the wilderness? So, man, all I can say is, bro, I love these brothers, man. And if they was hungry, I feed them. They thirsty, man, give them water to drink. They naked, I clothe them. But I'm going to sit down and still have to hit that hand when you go speaking against my master.
Yeah, most definitely.
Hey, Leron, everybody on here know that's what Hebrews in the Hood is for. So you got the perfect platform, because I can definitely get them to come on here. So y'all want to sit down and do this? Hey, you just said it live, so he ain't saying nothing but a word. I know they probably listening.
Man, look, I'm straight up and down like 6 o'clock, and I'm easy to find like a stop sign. I ain't say it thinking that it wouldn't be heard.
And see, that's my thing, man. I have to say, in the Zadok's opening statement, when he talked about Isaiah 53 alone, which just that opening statement alone, I said, oh, it's done right there. Like, you can't, you say this one man can't die for you, but you'll say a nation that died for the people, but one man, and a wicked nation at it. You know what I'm saying? So, when he brought out,
You know what? I want everybody to understand something, man. When it comes down, hey yo, shut up. I want everybody to understand something when it comes down to this non-messianic and messianic beef. I realize where the ignorance is at. And
to
too many people,
rebel, and believers, and they're taking believers away from the text to rebel against the text and say that well, they tampered with this. Well, hold on, if you say they tampered with this, and they tampered with that too, so it has to be dealt with, and them brothers had to sit down, and they got some explaining to do.
well, we gotta basically show them. And this is, like I said, this is the problem, and the Messiah identified the problem. He said, Moses spoke of me. He said, if you love the Father, you will also love me. The Messiah claimed to be with Israel all their lives. And what brothers don't understand is when you go inside of that Tanakh, you do see two in command. That's point blank, period. I read it out the Masoretic text, okay? And a lot of brothers don't like what I say because they play on that word angel too much. That's a word that really has affected the Christian community as well, and the non-Messianic community. There's two Yahuwahs or two Yahwehs. That's not blasphemous. We can go in the Tanakh and find it. We can go in the Masoretic, the JPS, and find it. We can go in the Dead Sea Scrolls and find it. We can go into every text, okay, and find it. That the Malachim of Yahuwah that was on the mountain, that made Moses set up the 12 pillars, that made Joshua set up the 12 pillars, that followed the children of Israel out of Egypt, that also was in the fire, okay, when he went in the back of the host of Israel to confound the Egyptians, the messenger of the covenant. The only way that you can be a covenant, okay, a covenant has to be killed. There's no other way. So when he said, I will make a new covenant with Israel, he's letting you know that the new covenant is not going to be with what I used to do covenants with, and that is with its animals. So those are the things, or the key things that brothers have to try to illustrate to our non-messianic brothers. Because if you're saying that you have a relationship with the Most High Yah, you're saying that you were having a relationship with the Messiah anyway. And when he comes in the flesh, you don't recognize him. He already identified this in scriptures. So I think that's how we should approach certain things dealing with this beef. Is just not the fact of letting the brother say that you don't have to understand it, but letting the brother say, listen, the whole time this is who you've been talking to. This is who's been doing the talking the whole time. This is the one that made Israel. This is the one that made the earth. This is the God particle that the scientists are trying to find now.
Hey, can I
Believe
the name of the Aki who's speaking?
that. Yeshaya.
Just shalom and blessings to you, family. You on
Shalom,
point.
bro.
I just had to say that. Go ahead.
This is the God particle. Everybody's trying to find the Messiah, even the scientists, because now they're dealing with the God particle. The Bible contains the God particle. The Messiah said he was the God particle. John said he was the God particle. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. Then you have Aleph and Tav in the beginning, made the heavens and the earth, and Aleph and Tav made man in his own image, made them female, male and female. Aleph and Tav, male and female principle. That's the God particle. That's what started everything in the universe. So we got that already. So we got what everybody's looking for. And it's up to us to convey this understanding on a level where people can understand why we believe it. Because right now, to the point, I'm not trying to convert no non-messianics. I'm not trying to convert people. What I'm trying to show people is this. Revelation said, let those who are unclean, let them be unclean. And I'm going to let people be unclean because I'm going to show you why I believe in it. And it's up to you to say it makes sense why. But then you have to deal with, if it makes sense why, then why I'm not believing it. Then you have to go and fight it. That's the position I want some of these brothers in. I want them to fight the logic and the knowledge that their own book is conveying to them. Even the brothers that left, conviction got to fall on these brothers. And I know that everybody on this panel has everything that they need to bring that conviction, to bring that understanding, to bring that knowledge. So I just want to say that out of encouragement and let people know, even though y'all already know, this is what we got. we got the nuke right here. And you separate Messiah from that Old Testament, you ain't got the power. Power's not there. Because you fail to recognize it. And if you fail to recognize power, you don't know how to handle it. And you be just like these other world leaders, creating all of this mass destruction. So I just want to say that, man, you know what I mean, to everybody up here, man, that we gonna let this ring, man. We're gonna let this gonna shine on these brothers, man, whether people accept it or not. It's gonna shine on them. And we're gonna get those who are not in the fold, the lost sheep, you know what I mean, and be a light to the Gentiles. You know what I mean? That's what we're gonna do. I'm just letting everybody that's listening live to this know that. We coming with some things that's just gonna be undeniable. You know what I mean? So
Hallelujah.
Yeah, man,
Shalom, King.
I just want to say, shalom, brother Jesus. Did you catch the show? You was here the whole show, wasn't you?
When yesterday?
No, today.
No, I just came in, King.
Oh man, you missed it, man. It was a pretty decent show. I did a show on Jesus, the master of the law, because
Oh,
it's
I
a
got
lot of people that got missed. Yeah, you're gonna have to go back and check it out, bro. I was showing how everything he did was based off the Torah. And so I just want to bust a lot of misconceptions up. Even down to the little thing that when a lady grabbed the hem in his garment, when you look it up, the hem is nothing but a fringe. So you know what I'm saying? So I just had to, get that out of people's mind. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just this weirdo walking around the Israelites that wasn't doing nothing they was doing. You know what I mean? So it was pretty good, man, productive,
Oh yeah, I
man.
gotta go check that out, King.
Yeah, you
I
would
gotta
like it,
go.
bro. And to my brother Zadok, man, who's just talking too, man. This is specifically the platform for that. This ain't gonna be like Sonnet and them them other shows where cats get on here and just start arguing. No,
Right,
we gonna actually be able to ask each other real questions
right.
because people got their baby watching and everything. Because we got people on here that's respected teachers. So
Mm-hmm.
we want it to the point where we can sit up here and we can literally ask each other questions, and that's the best thing, instead of
That's
assuming
right.
and say, man, why them cats, why them crazy camps do that, or why they do that? Well, I'm pretty cool with all different walks of Israelites. So I could just get them on here and ask them yourself. I think it's a
Right.
perfect platform for it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Some people do a lot of talking behind that keyboard, but they scared to let their voice be heard.
That's right. That's right. You understand what I'm saying? That's a fact. I heard a brother. Hey, you know what I know, man? I'm gonna tell y'all something on the low, man. It's a whole lot of these brothers. I'm starting to realize each one of these so-called conscious brothers, as the Captain Cesariak like to call them, unconscious brothers, the house of unconsciousness. But I've noticed that all these brothers, whoever you dealing with, they all dealing with the same understanding. But like Reggie and, for instance, Reggie and Polite, both of them believe the same damn thing, but saying it in a different way. That's why they arguing amongst each other. Both of them dealing with celestial body worship. You know what I'm saying? Planetary systems worship. All of they dealing with all that, all of them. So you can't how you gonna debate some? That's just like me and you both believing in Christ, both believing in His coming, both believing every. That's just like me and you in the camp together, and we believe everything. I believe everything you believe. You believe everything I believe, but we debate. It makes no sense. That shit just be a farce. You know what I'm saying? For them views and that look. You know what I'm saying? And the men, that should be a farce, man. And I'm noticing that, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of commission brothers actually be hitting me up in the in chats, and they be saying, "Well, brother, can you send me some information on this? I saw you in the comment section saying this, or I saw a little piece of your video. I watched it like the first 10 minutes of the video, and you was going into this. Can you send me that?" A lot of these so-called commission brothers do that. You know what I'm saying? See, I'm one of them type of brothers that I'm not going out and banging on Africa. See, what people don't understand is this. I'm gonna bring out some real research, right? And I'm doing a study on this now. Kemet is not even Africa. Egypt wasn't even Africa. You get what I'm saying? Our Hebrews, the Hebrews of antiquity, did not consider Egypt Africa. They considered Egypt Egypt, and then they considered what you would call uh uh west, everything west of Egypt, Africa, like Libya. You understand what I'm saying? They call that Africa. You see what I'm saying? And so we gonna bring that out. You know what I'm saying? And I got some powerful information on that. So when I bring that out, showing that Egypt itself is not even Africa, and it wasn't even referred to as Africa by these people. And then I wish they would try to go into the Afar, because that's just a tribe. It's not a landmass, a geographical landmass. You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be bringing that out, and then I wonder what they gonna say when I do that. Now, did you brothers? I sent the video out. It was called. I don't know if you brothers saw it. It's been around for a minute, and I don't know how many people saw it. Is a African brother, and he's talking about how Negroes were slaves and how they used to eat us in Egypt, and they beat us and sold us to the white man. Did any of you brothers see that? Nah, I didn't see it.
I saw parts of it. I know what you're referring to, Jesus.
I didn't see it, but I want you to elaborate more about that polite picture, brother, that Masonic Prince Hall picture, if you could.
Oh yeah, that Masonic nonsense, man. See, I don't got nothing against the Masons, because I understand pure masonry. But what these brothers dealing with ain't no pure masonry. And that's why I was on a line with some brothers, and they was telling me that they was Masons, but they wouldn't say which umbrella they was under. You understand what I'm saying? Because we know the biggest umbrella for blacks, quote unquote blacks, in the United States is Prince Hall Masons. You understand what I'm saying? And I was telling these brothers, so if you're not under Prince Hall Masonry, really you're not under nothing. You're not doing anything.
You're not a Mason at all for real because you have to be. Prince Hall is the largest Masonic order in the United States. In some way and fashion, your mosque and your Grand Masters are connected, or in your Shriners are connected with Prince Hall Masons. And the Prince Hall Masons have sold out to the Europeans. Wait a minute. I I had some information. I did a video on that, and I don't think a lot of people even caught that. I did a video on going into that. You understand what I'm
But
saying?
it just stems back like, why would you even call yourself a Mason in the first place? Like, it stems back, and when it deals with our biblical text, it talks about Masons as being those builders that actually wage war in Genesis chapter 11.
All
So when
right.
you deal with masonry, you go deep a little bit back into it. You know that you start to realize that that's what they talking about. They talking about Nimrod now. They talking about a new world order that was established in Genesis chapter 11, and they are the builders. So therefore, when they was confounded at that time, now that they couldn't understand each other, so they left off from building, and they started to erect these temples and sites and these in every place they could, wherever they were scattered to. So now that they understand each other, they have built a language, an alphabet system, a lingua franca language. Now they are saying, let us build again. And let's defy the Most High again. And one of the tools that they use this is evolution, because evolution is something to teach you that you are God, basically, and that everything came into existence, and you're the God of whatever came into existence, because you have evolved, and they have evolved as a favorite species or favorite race. So therefore, because they have evolved as a favorite race, that they control every other thing, and basically everything that's in this earth, or even going beyond that to try to control anything that's in the universe just as well. Whatever they can get their hands on, to say that they themselves are God, when they can only emulate from what the Creator has actually created. So Masonry, man, is basically stems back. If you don't, if no one, if no one give you that standpoint of Masonry as been a builder, I mean, as been a builder, what are you building? Well, I mean, what's your explanation for that? What are you concealing? And if they don't come out with that basically beginning of that conversation, then you know already that they're not giving you even the proper standpoint on masonry, because that's where it stems from, the builders.
Now, now go. I want. Because I will have to go into Solomon and Hiram Abiff. You remember Hiram Abiff was who Solomon commissioned to build the temple. And you remember who Hiram Abiff was? Solomon commissioned Hiram to build the temples. You
Yup,
understand?
up in Levant, up in yeah, he built the temple down in
Yeah, that was.
Megiddo, and also in Megiddo, and also up in Ugarit just as well. He was from
Yeah,
Ugarit.
this is the these. Remember it says King Solomon had all the wisdom in the world. This is the wisdom this was the pure wisdom that was from the Most High. This was the pure form of wisdom, pure science and mathematics. You get what I'm saying? And every Mason today built their foundation, or so-called built their foundation, on the mathematics and science of Hiram Abiff and King Solomon. You get what I'm saying? That's why when you check out a book called Solomon's Key, written by a big master Mason brother, you'll get that. You check out Hiram's, what was that? I had another. I forget the name of it. Something with Hiram. I forget the name. I read this book about, I say, about 9 years ago. I forget the name of it, but the brother Hiram Biff. It's not Hiram Biff on it. It's a European on it, and they got the shield of Dawood, and he's standing there with a blindfold on. He's got one leg up, one pants leg up. He's in his ritualistic stance, initiation, uh, stance, or initiation wardrobe. But I read this book about 9 years ago, man. And this book, ever since I read that book, man, it did something to me. I said, "Oh, this is crazy." I knew who Hiram Biff was. You understand what I'm saying? I knew who it was, but I didn't know how deep this stuff ran, how much they was leaning on this stuff. And they got the bones of Hiram Biff. They got the bones. of him. You know what I'm saying? The master masons and the Shriners got his bones. He was a black man, by the way, and they know that.
I'm kind of familiar with what you're talking about, brother, with the whole lion's paw and all that stuff. Yeah, Muhammad Biff and the Masons. Yeah, I know what you're talking about because they love to attribute that to Solomon. You know what I'm saying? I was in the kitchen and I could hear you, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. But
Yeah.
I mean,
But then what they did, what they perverted, they took the wisdom of Solomon and Hiram Biff, and they perverted it. They took the wisdom of that, cause there wasn't nothing but the same uh demonic spirits working in them that was working in the Tower of Babel. You understand what I'm saying? When they were trying to build a governmental structure, and this is why I say it was a governmental structure, not a building, because they knew that God wasn't sitting up in no sky. You get what I'm saying? They knew that, so they're not building nothing to try to get up in space to get to know God. You get what I'm saying? When they talking about the Tower of Babel, you know what I'm saying, all the nations coming together trying to get up to God. What they was trying to do, they were trying to create this motherfucking governmental system and this religious system where they can worship Satan. Yeah.
hey, Susie, I try to hold fast on the on the cussing, bro.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. My bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
They,
I
you
hear what
know,
you're saying. That
yeah, they trying to
but I
become
think,
gods.
hold up, I think my brother LaRon could beg to differ. I ain't
Go
trying to
ahead,
start
man.
a debate. I ain't gonna start a debate, but he got some good info because I did a whole thing on it years ago showing how the
Yeah,
Nimrod
he
is
got to
sitting.
see that. Mikhail got it right there. The Book of Hiram. Look, the Master
Yeah,
Mason.
yeah, you know, he got, man, the dude got a whole library back there, and you just name a book, he gonna, it could be something about Irish dance skills, and he gonna pull it up, the Celtic nay. But what I'm saying is though, right? I did a show on it some years back about how you could trace Nimrod with the building, even of the continuous building of the pyramids, all the way over to America, South America, and all that, and all of them was almost a small similitude of a Tower of Babel. So maybe it can be that it was both, because most things have a natural form and a symbolic thing that it fall back on. That's what most things in history and the scriptures. So I don't know, but I know LaRon, I seen some of your stuff, Jesus. I was checking out your video today, where you was breaking down the what was you breaking down? You was bringing out the information with oh, you was bombing on Polite and Minister Inky, and you was talking about how they be spilling, cherry picking out the scriptures and trying to, Euroscience it. I think that was you.
Yeah,
Wasn't that you?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but LaRon got a lot of info on it. I don't know. Y'all probably gonna have a good dialogue on this one.
Yeah,
yeah,
Tower of
man. You
Babel,
know,
that's actually archaeological proof. That's archaeologically proven. You know what I'm saying? That's in history. That's even in Chinese history and Chinese hieroglyphs. When you're dealing with the Chinese history, dealing with the three people that came from the flood, because they also have one as well.
yeah, yeah. I got some history on that. Yeah, you talking about the Genesis story in the Chinese language.
Chinese Genesis, exactly. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And they Tower of Babel is described the same way. One language, a building. Even Nebuchadnezzar. I think it was Nebuchadnezzar. I'm not sure, but talks about the same thing. But see, the Tower of Borsippa or Borsipo, which means the tower, a tower of tongues. You know what I'm saying? And the
oh
Samaritans
yeah.
got a story where everybody talked the same language.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. They did have a physical headquarters. There was a physical headquarters, but what I'm saying is it was a governmental structure, just like the
Oh
UN.
yeah,
You get what I'm saying? They try to come together just like the UN.
Yeah,
Now, don't
yeah.
get me wrong. It was one big place where they tried to build some shit, a governmental. You know what I'm saying? But in context, or and on flip side of it, it's still talking about that governmental structure, just like the UN and shit today.
most deaf.
Would you
That's why
agree
they.
with that, Karan?
Nah, I'm agreeing with you, bro. You right.
Yeah, yeah. It's what it's dealing with in the Hebrew. In actuality, in the Hebrew, the word "there" is italicized, so there is no reach there actually. So what it's dealing with, instead of it saying reach, what he's talking about is they made a tower and dedicated the top to the heavens. So that's basically what they did. They made a tower and they started to they dedicated the top with to the heavens, basically dealing with celestial work. I mean star worship and worshiping the universe and stuff like that. So that's how if you notice once they were separated, once they made their temples, they temples and the pyramids, they called them. Matter of fact, they used to be called blood temples. Actually, it was blood temples. That's why the Most High had told them don't make steps or altars to go up to worship. They called them high places. They will make the temples and high places. They will line up with the stars, with the universe. So that's all they did when they left off to build was they retained some of that information. The elite did, the smartest of the people, and they built those temples. They lined up with the celestial stars and stuff like that, solar system. And then what they started doing is they started sacrificing to those things because it was always a priesthood. They was dealing with a priesthood. Matter of fact, as far as back as Nimrod and farther back,
I wanna
priesthood.
I wanna land back on that too, LaRon, because the Most High was always against people, you know what I'm saying, building things artificial, because you know the Most High, he has a mountain. So this is something that all ancients knew. This is why mountains were so important back then. Then they started just artificially making mountains. You
And
know what
let
I'm
me
saying?
say
Because it's,
something real quick. What the brother Alvin? I'm gonna wait to the brother. I always say this to the brother Alvin. I love the brother Alvin, but Alvin is the most weakest pushover as Hebrew I know, man. He goes on these shows and let these brothers tell him to shut up, be quiet, or get kicked off, and he sits there patiently like a little good little puppy. I told him about that. I said, Alvin, man, why you go on this unk show and let this man tell you to shut up, sit down, shut your mouth before he boots you, and you do it like some little puppy? Because I be
Okay.
trying to be cordial with him. I said, listen, man, get out of there. If they don't want, if you know what I'm saying, they got to talk to you like that, man, leave, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Don't let them brothers talk to you like that, man. And then they try to cut him off his wisdom, cut his wisdom off when he bring it. I said, it's really time to get out of there, man. Stop
Hey,
going in there and
sis.
getting pushed over every time, and then everybody got his understanding. What he brings is his understanding he brings is what these guys turn around and attach to everyone else, just like everybody else do.
Exactly.
You see what
And
I'm
he
saying?
yeah,
don't
but
really even
Alvin,
deal with the
Alvin,
biblical
Alvin
text
beats them
like
at
that,
their own
man.
game, though.
All right,
Alvin beats
hey,
them at their own
gentlemen,
game, though.
gentlemen,
You know what I'm
gentlemen, we're
saying?
getting a little off topic. I hate to cut everybody's wisdom, but
My bad, man. My bad,
listen,
man.
we're kind of running out of time on the live stream. So what I need to do is thank everybody and then get closing statements from everybody, and then we can continue to hang out in the conversation. I just want to catch the ending of the show before the live stream cuts out. So once again, I want to thank everybody for joining us, Hebrews in the Hood. I'm your good, humble brother, BYK1011, co-host and producer of the show, Mikael Ben Israel. Check him out, his YouTube channel. He's also got The Walls of Jericho Have Fallen on Blog Talk. Also want to thank the good brother Zadok Ben Israel, Knesset of Jesus. Find him on Blog Talk. His show is What Is to Be Done. Want to thank Yeshaya, Mikael Edwards, Laranji Consciousness, the good brother Jesus, and Alvin and Yahawada. So, Mikael, I don't know if you back to your mic, but let's get a couple closing statements from everybody, and then I'll go ahead and end the live stream, and we can continue our discussion.
Yeah, I get the last close out. Let everybody give a quick one.
Let me say something first. I want to make my let me closing statements. This is what I want to say. For all my brothers and sisters out there, whether you practicing Commission way of life, you got to come to the realization that that's not who we are. You understand what I'm saying? Come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God of Israel and His Son Christ, and then you'll really see what we talking about when we say we have the truth over here. Because a lot of our brothers and sisters, what they do is they jump on bandwagons. Just like when for you brothers in the Kemet community, just like when you brothers polite said the ISUPK guy is a white guy with no evidence. Every next thing you know, everybody's saying he's a white guy. Like we gotta set the trends for our people, not let people who mean us no good set the trends for us. So we gotta do better and work on that. And like I said, I'm the Hebrew Goliath. I'm the Hebrew David. Bring your Philistine or your Kemetic Goliaths. You know what I'm saying? We ain't taking no prisoners, and we showing and proving, and we edifying the people. Shalom to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Hey, good one. Hey, it's on you, LaRon. Closing statement.
Yeah, I just want to say peace to everybody that was listening in. Good show, and like I say, information finna be brought forth, and we finna deal with a lot of things, in every angle. So be looking to hear from the brothers that's on this panel, and linking up and bringing a lot of information to the people. And like the brother said, Jesus said, man, ain't no way in that comedic thing, man. That's not who we are. Those people enslaved us, and not only did they enslave us, but the elite also, is the ones who enslave people. So, everybody want to look up to that, not realize that's not what it is, man. When you actually do a study on that, those people was actually just controlling the economics, and they was big politicians, and they always have been. You know what I'm saying? And even economics. When Christ came to them, they made the house of the Lord into a house of exchange and merchandise rather than serving the Most High and using that house for a house of prayer. So we got to be up on our game and understand that and who for us and who not. And shouts out to the co-laborers out there. Just as well. I'm one myself. So with that being said, I just want to say peace to everybody that's out there and blessings.
All right, thanks, G-Con. Let's get a statement from Brother Zadok, and then we'll see if Mikael Edwards has anything, and then last but not least, Brother Wayne, King Yeshaya.
Thanks, Brother Basim. Shalom to the brethren. Thanks for inviting me in. Prayerfully, I'll be able to make this on a regular. I'm going to go back and listen to the archive because I want to hear what Brother Mikael was bringing out. But in the context of Christ, Yeshua being the Lord or the master of the law, I think that if we understand why the law was given, the law was never given to Israel because they were going to do it by perfection of their own flesh. It was given to them as a witness that without Yah and without his honor being revealed, they would not be able to serve correctly. You break one law, you break it all. Deuteronomy 27, the nation split into on two sides of the valley, and they pronounced the curse over the nation that cursed is he who confirmeth not to do all the words of this law. We have all fallen egregiously short. And it is only the revealed Mashiach of Israel who has walked the line similar to what the first Adam had before he transgressed. Knowledge of the true and living and representing his will only. I pray that we all continue to come together so that we can continue to learn and edify and share with one another our line of studies so that we can really understand our Mashiach and understand that his coming and his giving of himself for us and the grace with which we are saved is not a means to throw away the law, but it is a means to establish the spirit and the principles of what the written letter was trying to show us. So I pray that the similitude keeps being revealed to your brothers and doctor in Israel. Shalom.
All right, I'll just close mine out real quick, and I just want to say thank you, Basim, for the link, and Mikael, wonderful teaching. And I just enjoy all you brothers, man. And it's wonderful to be around brothers that are not trapping and pimping and selling dope and killing and doing all of that, that line of thinking. But I'm glad that I'm surrounded by young men that choose to give their young days, their strength, their mind back to the Creator for that Creator's purpose. And I want to tell you to keep on, whatever you're doing, each one of you, even if you have a difference in opinions, one purpose, one Lord. Keep preaching. Keep doing it. So, peace, peace, peace.
All right, thank you, Mikael. King Yeshaya, Alvin, either one of you guys have some closing statements before we end out?
Yeah, I'll say this. The Messiah is God particle. He is power. He is knowledge. He's in within Torah. He's the hot topic. You know what I'm saying? And our book is the perfect machine to control this God particle. We don't need no Hadron Collider. This book contains this energy, this power, and there's rules apply to this. No matter what type of fallacy, grammatical errors, scribal errors, or contradictions you find. It's still the perfect mathematical equation to get back to the higher vibration, which is the creator, the father of all things, and to give praise to him and his son, Yahushua, and that's it.
For sure, Alvin. You want to get you one in before I close out?
Just peace to everybody. Good teaching. Wayne, hey, good teaching, Mikael. I really liked what you're talking about. That's actually a topic me and my father's always talked about, and you brought up a lot of good points that I think that people really should be familiar with. And I don't know. That's all I got to say. I just really like your presentation, brother.
Thank you, my brother. And I'd like to say thank you to my co-host and my director, my beloved brother Basim. And to the audience and the panel, I'd like to say, may the Most High Elohim, Abram, Isaac, and Yaakov, which is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and his son, Jesus Christ, our Mashiach, the Messiah. I'd like to say I thank you all. I'd like to greet and leave everybody with the words of shalom, shalom, mercy, and bless and lovings be increased to all of you, and peace. Hebrew War Machine.